everyone, and welcome back to our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show, where the topic for today is 7 surging health trends on the rise for 2021. So after a lot of careful consideration, really over the last 4 to 6 weeks to start this year, I wanted to look at and essentially assess where I believe that we'll be moving within the next 12 months in 2021. Obviously, we're still dealing with the pandemic itself, the fallout from last year's pandemic and all the different health-based repercussions that we've gone through. But there's much more to it than that, because we have to understand is, yes, of course, people are home more, all of those things. We'll talk about that. I'm not discounting that at all. But actually from this, we're moving in a few different directions at a faster rate than we were before the pandemic. And I don't see it changing at least for about 2 to 3 years. Now, I'm still optimistic that by June, May-June, we are going to start to see a real precipitous drop in cases, like a real dramatic decline. And that's because hopefully by then we're reaching herd immunity, and that we've got more sunlight, which we know does help to a greater degree. We're out of the cold and flu-based season. And that we've got a lot more, in general, natural and conventional-based treatment protocols. So I'm optimistic. I really am. But I don't know. So I've always said that, and again, we'll see if it comes true. Again, I don't have a magic ball at all, but I do look at trends, and I know what seasonal flu and immunity looks like, and that doesn't end until March. And so April, I think, is going to be a transition month, and then I believe that May, we're going to start to see the big improvement, and by June, again, I don't know, I think that we're going to be in a whole different spot. People will start to go back to work a little bit more. Restaurants are going to be fully open, all of those things. Again, I don't know. We'll see if that prediction comes true in about 5 months from now. Okay, but what I can tell you is this, is that we are going to see a trend in these particular health-based areas. And the reason is that I still don't know in the fall and next winter of 2021 into 2022, if really we're going to go back and we'll just keep up with particular mask-based mandates, social distancing, et cetera, et cetera. So just kind of keeping that in mind, not saying good, not saying bad. What does it look like in terms of overall health-based trends? So let's take this to you right now and what I've seen in my own practice and also in the research. So the first one is this. I just think that over the next 12 months, regardless of what happens with cases and all that, again, cases have to go down. So I just want to put that out to you, and I hope that it brings you hope. Cases have to start going down. We are reaching herd immunity. And at that point, you have to understand is the virus needs a host, okay? It's like a parasite. It does not work. It cannot live on its own. So it can only live for 24 hours or so outside of the body. Now, if it has a host, that host, if it already had this particular virus, that means your body built up antibodies. And those antibodies then become activated when it detects this virus. And then that virus is wiped out quickly this time within about 3 days or so. Maybe mild symptoms, but it's wiped out fast. So it can't then create this spread from person to person to person. That's what we hope for, right? That's what we believe. And if it's like all the other viruses that we know, well, it's going to act the same way. Again, we're not going to talk about different strains of mutations, et cetera, today. We don't know if that is that founded at all. There might be strains, but that doesn't that are different, but that does not mean that it won't. Our own body's antibodies will not react and destroy that strain as well if it's a slight variation. Again, variations of strains, we're talking like 96% exactly the same, 98% exactly the same. So slight variations in these strains, which of course the media doesn't ever share with you. But again, that's neither here nor there. What I want to share with you is this. I still think that there's going to be a lot of fear in our society, and maybe rightly so. But because of that, I think that people still are going to go out less often. So they're going to travel less on airplanes. They're going to travel less to restaurants, etc. I just think they're going to be more careful. And again, maybe rightly so. But whether that's good, bad, honestly, sometimes things just are. So what people are doing, and I believe they're going to keep up with, is they're going to be doing a lot more At-home meal delivery. Now, this does not just mean using Uber Eats or any of these things to have restaurant meals delivered to you. What it means is that there's going to be a lot more of what's happening right now, which is people cooking their own meals. And it's oftentimes because they want to be healthier. They want to choose healthier options for their own health, for their own immunity. And I don't believe that's going to change. And I actually believe in the marketplace, we're going to see a much greater surge in meal delivery options. I'll be doing my research on the best ones, and I'm going to be sharing with you more of those on my Friday review podcast. So, of course, all my podcasts are available at stephencabral.com/podcasts. You'll be able to see the YouTube videos there. You'll be able to see all the show notes, etc. All right, so more meal delivery options will be available, with some of them even providing you with all meals completely, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, not just dinner, which is the majority of meal delivery services. So definitely look for that. That is a big trend, and it's continuing to surge as well. Now, I'm going to add my own little take to that. I don't know that this is happening, but I hope that it is. I would love to see more and more people developing their own small urban gardens, or if you're in the suburbs, a full garden, and start to grow some of the foods that you enjoy eating that are healthy, whether it be potatoes, lettuce, carrots, root vegetables. Root vegetables are so easy to grow, honestly. Like, they're simple to grow. You really can't mess up. You put some seeds in the ground or a starter in the ground, and you allow it to flourish. Like that's about it. The biggest thing I can tell you is don't overwater it, right? My first season as an amateur gardener, I overwatered. I'm like, I got to get out there every night, water my garden. No, you don't want that. If the soil becomes very dry, then you can give it a little bit of water. I typically let nature and rain do its thing, and if needed, I water that once or twice a week. That's about it. So the other great thing that you can do, and that I do all year round, is grow herbs in my house. Super simple. You can grow your own oregano and thyme and parsley and all these different things that you can add to dishes that have all of these flavonoids that I just spoke about on, I believe it was, I'm going to get it for you right now because this is really important, episode 1827. And then last week on episode 1831 on how just 400 milligrams a day of flavonoids are able to counteract our unhealthy lifestyle choices. So definitely check that out. And I do hope that this is a growing trend. All right, number 2 is this, because I have 7 for you today. Home workouts. Now, don't get me wrong. Online fitness and online workouts has been growing. But we know that gyms may be the very last to open up at full capacity. And even when they do, are people going to feel comfortable going back to a crowded gym, especially during the wintertime? I think the answer is no. I think gyms, unfortunately, are going to be hurting in that regards. And it is too bad. I mean, this is the field that I grew up in when I was 18 years old. I gave a lot of my good years to the gym in terms of work, and I found a lot of solace in the gym. That was my happy place. I enjoyed being there even when I wasn't doing well and I was sick and all those different things. So I feel for it. But the good news is this. One of the trends is just not online workouts, because we all know you can find an online workout on YouTube, right? Like, you can find free ones everywhere. But here's the thing. I have seen, and I'm very happy about this, that online personal training, one-on-one video sessions is beginning to climb. And here's why. Although you might be able to get not an equivalent workout because your personal trainer can customize things for you, you can't get the accountability. Nobody says you need to turn on that video and watch it. That's not the case at all, right? But an appointment with a personal trainer, if only for 30 minutes, and you get in a quick workout any time of the day that works with your schedule, especially if you're at home, can be absolutely fantastic. So I love this. Remember, personal training is not just about the workout. It's about customization for you, and it's about accountability. So check that out as well. Number 3, simplifying life and stress. And by the way, for number 2, if you do not have an online personal trainer right now, I'm going to link one up for you today. You can work with this group of personal trainers anywhere in the world. I'm going to link that up. Just thought of it right now. Why wouldn't I give you that? I have no association, but I know that they're a great group of personal trainers. Episode 1839, I'll link up a great virtual personal trainers that can work with you. They work with people in Australia. They work with people in Europe. They work with people all over the US. All right. So number 3, simplifying life and stress. This is going to be a big one because anxiety amongst adults and children are at an all-time high. Fear, all-time high. And of course, anytime you feel a lack of control, not only with the choices that you can make in your life in terms of going out or not going out, but also in terms of sickness. Are you going to get sick? Are you not going to get sick? Are your family members going to get sick? Are they not going to get sick? There's a lot to be worried about. So luckily, mental health and our overall stress and happiness have come to the forefront, and I really think that they should. So, of course, a lot more people are engaging in therapy. I think that's a great thing if done correctly. But also, here's what's also surging: self-care. So we've all heard about self-care before, but people have always said, I don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. Well, they're making the time now. So some things like meditation are getting a resurgence, or using things like the Juve light that I just spoke about on episode 1827. You can check that out as well, how I'm using it, how I'm bringing it into my morning routine, and I'm even adding more to it with the binaural beats, etc. But then other things as well. I've seen this surging and trending online, ritual baths. I don't know if you've heard about this before, but a lot of people, kids going to bed, they're going upstairs, downstairs, wherever their bathtub is, and they're actually setting a nice little sanctuary. And they're lighting a candle, they're playing some soft music, they are using some natural bath salts, some organic-based essential oils, and they're taking 30 minutes to themselves. And it's a fantastic thing for mind and body. So if you haven't set up your own self-care routine, again, you don't need a ton of time. 30 minutes a day. I have mine in the morning. I call it my self-care time. It's just my time in the morning to listen to something inspirational, read something inspirational, get ready for the day, just breathe, focus, relax, and just be ready to greet the day. And that's my time, and I really, really like that. The other part of this too is that families are now spending more time together. That can obviously cause a lot more stress. There's no doubt about it. However, they're creating activities that they can do together as a family. Work out together, read together, all of those things. My daughters and I, we work out together on the weekend. Now, again, they're only 6 and 8 years old. I do my workout, but they're jumping on my trampoline. They're riding around on my exercise bike, although their feet can't touch the pedals, but they can use the arms on that Rogue bike that I've spoke about before. So we're doing those things, but we're also spending a lot more time reading at night. So you can begin to engage in these family activities. That's great for the whole family. That allows for that connectedness. I really, really love that. All right. Number 4 is because of stress, because of anxiety, certain nutritional supplements are really surging in the marketplace. Okay, so people are beginning to kind of go easier on the caffeine and go a little bit more heavy on adaptogens and things that calm the body. So they're looking at a product like we have, such as Adrenal Soothe. So I want to share with you exactly what's happening inside of our practice. I can't speak for every other practice, but I can tell you what's going on inside of ours. We have a product called Adrenal Soothe. People are combining that with our sleep protocol and full spectrum magnesium. And it is literally surging in terms of the interest in those products. Adrenal Soothe is it's a world-renowned product that practitioners and people use all over the world. But what does it contain? Like, why does it work? Well, it helps to calm cortisol levels at night, right? We just talked about this yesterday, right? We talked about this on episode 1838. How do you calm cortisol at night? Well, you need products that have ashwagandha, that have phosphoserine, that have L-theanine. These are things that begin to calm the body and the mind. And they absolutely work. I mean, again, they're proven by science. Full spectrum magnesium, if you don't use magnesium, it calms the sympathetic nervous system. So it works great. And then, of course, if you need a little bit of melatonin, things like that, you can absolutely use that as well. But these things are on the rise. But what I also want to share with you is this, is that CBD oil, which seemed to have taken actually a little bit of a dip, and I totally understand why. It's because, like, every company in the world is like, oh, check out our CBD oil, check out the CBD oil. And there's so many bad products out there without authentic CBD strains that aren't full spectrum, that people weren't getting the benefits. So they moved away from CBD oil. And I get it. I'm going to be talking more about this over the next couple weeks. But there's a big place right now in our society for CBD oil but only from the right companies, only from functional medicine-based companies. And I'll tell you why. 5 milligrams of CBD oil is not going to do anything for you. It probably isn't going to do anything even for your children if they were to use it. It might work for a small pet. That's about it. It's not a clinical dosage. The other thing too is that we call it CBD, right? I'll talk about this more. I don't want to make a whole show about this. But full spectrum CBD oil is not just CBD. CBD is a catch-all phrase for cannabinoids, but there are different CBD, we'll call them CBD strains or cannabinoid strains that aren't just CBD. And that's why full spectrum CBD is really what people should be looking for. But I believe that that's going to surge at least towards the end of this year. There's no doubt about it, because here's the thing, it works. We were using it for so many years in our practice. We still do, by the way. We still use CBD all the time in our practice, but we were able to offer it to people in our practice because of the efficacy. And we were doing that before CBD was popular. We don't offer products because they're popular. If we did, we'd be offering you keto this and keto that and low carb this and low carb that, okay? But we don't. We stick by our principles. We stick by the natural laws that people should be living by. And CBD oil is an extract from a plant. So we're a big believer in that. We know it works. More about that in the future, but I believe you're going to see a surge again because of that. Number 5, integrative health tracking platforms. I love these things. I use them myself. I've got my iPhone here. I've got my Oura Ring. I use my leaf-based device. I integrate them. I'm thinking about even getting a different device. I'll talk about that in the future for tracking. But here's the thing. So these are all just devices, right? All the things I've talked about before, they're all devices, and I can link up different shows if you want to hear more about them from the past. And again, all these podcasts can be searched at stephencabral.com/podcast. You can just type in whatever you want, like literally Fitbit, Oura Ring, Leaf Therapeutics, all those different things, and find out about them. The specific infrared saunas that I use, the PEMF mats, etc. But I'll tell you, the big differentiator, and I'm going to get into, like, this is a field that I love. So people ask me like, hey, how do you get into this? How do you get into that? It's like, it's what I love. I love biometrics. I really do, because I love helping people get well, but I want to be able to quantify that. That's why people ask me like, well, why are you such a big proponent of nutritional supplements and at-home labs? It's because I know they work. I can show them. I can literally show you how you get better using at-home labs, right? That's the thing. But with these specific devices, on a daily basis, you can actually see, are you doing well or not? So beyond the devices, though, people are creating platforms like software apps that integrate in your Apple Watch, your Fitbit, your Leaf, your Oura Ring, your Withings, all of these different devices. And when you take these biometrics from your sleep or whatever it might be, it brings them in the app. And they're much easier to read, and you can take real data from them. So let's just say your heart rate variability started to drop, your respiration rate started to increase, your body temperature started to increase slightly, and let's say your average heart rate started to increase just by a little bit, right? Just by 2-3 beats, that's it. You know, for average heart rate, maybe body temperature went up by 0.1, all these small little factors. Well, here's the thing. If you see that trend happening, you know that your body's getting more run down. You might be getting sick. And since I have access to all this biometric data from my private wellness clients, I saw when people getting COVID, their HRV dropped in half. Body temperatures, of course, went up. Their average heart rate went up by 10 beats per minute. Like, really remarkable things we could see, but we could start to see it happening. They were getting sick. What do? We doubled down on immunity, right? Double down on immunity and rest, because your body's telling you, hey, you're exhausted. Don't train hard today, right? People have to understand that we can learn so much from this. So super excited about that. More to come. I'm going to keep talking about the devices, but I'm also going to keep talking about these new platforms that allow you to better track all of your device data. All right. Number 6 is this: a search for truth in medicine. I've seen it happening all this year. I get hundreds of direct messages and texts every day. Hundreds. I get hundreds of emails, even though I don't read my own email anymore. I have other people filtered through all of the email because I could never keep up with it. And I look at all my social media, all the comments, all those different things. People are questioning just dogma. They're basically saying, here's the thing. I don't know who or what to believe anymore. And I know exactly where they're coming from, because that's what happened to me at 17 years old when I got sick. and conventional medicine, the best medical doctors didn't know how to put me back together again. They didn't know how to help me get well. Didn't mean that they weren't brilliant. They just didn't know how to help me get well. So here's the thing. People are asking themselves, should we be in full lockdowns or not? Is it helping? Is it helping or hurting? Again, not for me to answer, but people are asking these things. Are the treatment plans right now what I should be doing? You know, should I be doing natural or should I be doing conventional medicine treatment protocols if I were to get this particular virus? Are the treatment plans safe from conventional medicine? Why aren't all people afforded the same treatment plans, which we've seen to work now across the world? Why isn't the media talking about zinc ionophores, quercetin, licorice root, zinc, that I've just named twice now, vitamin C, vitamin D? Why aren't they talking more about these things? Because we know the data is now there. What natural health methods are at people's disposal that they can use instead? Why do some medications worsen viral-based outcomes if you were to get sick? And then also people are asking, and I think smartly so, how can I combine the best of natural health with the best of conventional medicine? And that's what I try to bring people as well. And if you didn't hear about now all of the best viral-based pandemic protocols from natural health and conventional medicine that have been proven and being used, go back to episode 1810, 1810. All right, number 7, the last one for today is this. I've seen this trend surging, and I talked about it on this Monday's podcast, episode 1837. And again, today's episode 1839. I'll link up all the show notes here today. All right, number 7 was this. It's self-reliance and maintaining health. Always in the past, this is what I've seen. People don't do all the little things they needed to in order to maintain health. But when they got sick, they would then jump all in with both feet. It was the same, and I have a lot of friends that are chiropractors, osteopathic doctors, and it would be like no one would ever go and really like do a lot of work for their core or flexibility or stretching for their hamstrings and hips and hip flexors until they hurt their lower back. Then when they hurt their lower back, well, they saw a chiro, they saw an osteopathic doctor, they began to do their core work, maybe started to go and do some training, personal training, those things like that. After something happened, but now people seem to be all in on their health. They really do. Even people that I would never imagined are taking vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, the immunity protocol that we have, daily foundational protocol level 2 or level 3. They're in, and they're using these things on a daily basis because they don't want to get sick. Or if they do get sick, because we're not saying that it stops the virus, they're going to be able to recover faster without the massive repercussions. Again, we can't place any guarantees, but that's also what the science shows us. That is what we are learning right now. So for me, again, like I love to see this because then that means that people are interested in taking control of their own health. And that's a lot of what we talked about on this past Monday's podcast. But if you're doing that, then you're going to start to feel the difference. More health, you really are. More energy, more vitality. What is the next step then? Well, the next step then is saying, okay, maybe I should start an exercise program. Maybe I should get in my 10,000 steps per day. Maybe I should work more on overall sleep, like sleep-based patterns that we talked about on yesterday's podcast. So these are the 7 trends that I'm seeing, and I'm happy about them. I really are. I really am. Meaning, like, I know that we're going to recover from this. There's no doubt about it. But I hope that we don't forget. We don't forget how important our health is to us, and that if we don't have our health, we don't have anything else. Really, we just need to keep passing that on to people. And so I thank our IHPs, I thank our entire health community, and of course, I appreciate you for always sharing these podcasts whenever you feel they're helpful. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Always happy to read your comments and take your questions on Instagram, specifically at my name, Stephen Cabral, and inside of our Facebook private group, which is cabralsupportgroup.com. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing day.